Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast, episode number 57. I'm your host, Kirby Lupo, joined alongside with my co-hosts, as always, Cody Stevens and Nick Levine. Well, without further ado, Cody, we got a special guest here today.
Yes, we do. The man we are about to introduce was the 11th overall pick in the 1981 NHL draft, where he played for four teams, mainly with the Quebec Nordiques, New York Rangers, Buffalo Sabres, and finishing his career with the Florida Panthers, playing a stellar 815 games in the NHL. And after he retired, he would start his amazing broadcast career, first as the radio analyst for the Panthers, then moving up to his very iconic role as the lead play-by-play guy for the Panthers. You guys may recognize him. Then he was between the benches, helping out Goldie and Denny Potvin, and now he is the right-hand man beside our beloved Steve Goldstein. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for, hailing from Red Deer, Alberta, Mr. Randy Moller.
How's it going, Randy?
Hi, guys. How are you? Great to be on with you.
I got someone on my side here today, being from Alberta. So what was it like? Tell everyone in our fan base. They always give me little jabs, growing up in Calgary, growing up in Alberta. What was it like growing up in Red Deer?
Well, I came from a family. My father was an RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman, and so what that means is you're going to be bouncing all over the place. And what happened, my father was stationed in a small town northeast of Calgary and southeast of Red Deer in a place called Three Hills. There was only 3,000 people. And he was the head of the detachment there. And my brother and I would just turn 11, 12, 13, about 11, 12. And my father sacrificed and actually took a position in Red Deer with the police department, so my brother and I could continue on and play at a higher level with our hockey. And it was the best thing that the family ever did, because we were able to get into some great competition and play against Edmonton and Calgary and Lethbridge and Medicine Hat and what have you in all these big cities at AAA. And my brother and I, fortunately, were able to build off of that and get drafted and that. But it wouldn't have happened if we weren't in Red Deer. My mother just passed away last October, and she was still living in Red Deer. My older brother lives there with his extended family as well. So, but I haven't lived in Red Deer now for probably 20 some years, but we go back every year, go back every summer, especially when my mother was alive, and stay with my brother. And I've got lots of siblings. My sister and my other brother live in Calgary, and my wife's sister lives in Calgary as well. So we always enjoy going back. This year we're going back for a wedding here right before training camp and that. So we always look forward to it.
Yep. No, the guys, we always bring that up, in our community and stuff like that. So it's nice to hear the connection because of the HeyRedDeer handle that, guys, we do all our post games on X. Everyone, get to hear that little backstory there. Cody, Nick?
Randy, once again, it's an honor to have you on. And my first question is, because this is when I was first a fan of the Florida Panthers, around 2006, 2007. You were the lead radio guy for a bit there, and you used to have the iconic, after we score, the movie one-liners. And I think my favorite one is, I think Booth scored and you yelled "Mom, the meatloaf" or something to that effect. Can you give a little backstory about how that kind of started? Because there's a pretty good compilation on YouTube, and it's probably one of my favorite videos out there.
Yeah, quickly, back when I first started doing play-by-play on radio, what happened was Dave Strader took another position in the league, and I was doing radio. Steve Goldstein was doing the play-by-play. I was doing the color, and it was an automatic to move Goldie up the television. So I was running the broadcasting, was vice president of broadcasting. So I went to our president, Michael Yormark, and I said, we got a hold of Phil here. And he said, no, you do it. I said, what? I said, there's never been a former player that's done play-by-play on radio or TV in the history of the National Hockey League full time. guys have filled in,
Yeah.
because guys miss flights or due to sickness or something like that for a game. No, you got to do it. You're talented enough. Go and do it. So it took me a while, and I decided okay, I'll give it a shot or whatever. Okay, so the goal calls. At the time, I think I can safely say that the Panthers weren't a powerhouse in the NHL. We were struggling on the ice, off the ice, and that. We had just signed a radio deal with a local radio station down here that carried the Dan Le Batard show. And of course, Dan Le Batard became very, very big, and of course, ESPN and what have you. And his podcast is one of the most watched in the history of sports. So his program would lead right into our pregame show, the quick 15 minutes, and in the contract we had to do a crossover. Well, Dan. I say it with love, or whatever, not the biggest hockey fan, and at the time, especially at the time. And he called me up and said, listen, we got to do this crossover. I don't know about your team. I really, blah, 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 and all this stuff, but we need to do something. And I said, well, I'm game. And at that time, he was starting to really expand into social, not just sports. He was doing all kinds of stuff.
Like pop culture.
Yeah, pop culture and that. And anyways, it was on a lark. We get on, and they were playing that Bibby was he be flopping. Bibby, he be flopping. This was an old NBA saying that a former player, Bibby, for the NBA, was flopping all over, and he be flopping, he be flopping. So they said to me, Randy, after a goal, would you say one of these sayings or whatever? So I said, yeah. So that was probably the first one that I did. Well, then it quickly took off, and they took fans recommendations and suggestions and that. So that's the way it all started. And I would go on, and they would give me 2 or 3, and then depending on the time and the timing of it, I'd let it fly. Ma the Meatloaf and Leave Britney Alone and You're My Huckleberry and all. But I think that I enjoyed it, and I had a couple rules, guys. Number one is I am not going to get myself or the team or anybody in trouble. I'm not into anything that's controversial, that's going to cause a lot of, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. If the fans are enjoying it and I'm enjoying it, I'll continue doing it. And so we kind of had those parameters of those sayings, and we had a lot of fun with it. Well, as you guys know, it just exploded.
Yeah.
On the Howard Stern show, and every place that we went, the Panthers, I'd be on the morning, sports show and the local radio stations and talking about it. And I never expected the publicity and that, but we enjoyed it. And I had a couple other ones. For the goal calls, I only did them once. I didn't want to ever repeat them. There was enough sayings to go around. So you can credit Dan Le Batard and his show, and the team was good with it. And it was just sometimes it was a little bit uncomfortable because we'd be down 5-0 and Stephen Weiss would score, and I'd let one fly or whatever like that. And then they would play it on the morning shows the next morning, and then they repeat it on the Dan Le Batard show before I came on. So it kind of built and built and built. So that was a long time ago, guys. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed my time as doing it. But then when the team and Fox Sports approached me to take that personality and go on television, I was able to hire a really, really great young radio play-by-play guy in Doug Plagans. And so we all know how he has implanted himself in the community and with local sports fans. So it's all worked out.
Yeah, Randy's creating extra work for himself there, guys. Nick?
Speaking of the community, I was actually growing up in South Florida, did a lot of those Panther camps, those summer camps. And I remember you would always come over to the ice stand. I think it was called Saveology at the time. And you give us a tour of the Panthers practice facility. And that was one of the coolest things as a kid, seeing the practice facility. What has it been like, not only on the ice, but off the ice in the community? You've been very involved to kind of see it flourish and grow.
Yeah, well, and that's, I've said it now for a couple of years now. I'm just so happy for the fans and the organization, and that you don't want to dwell on it, but there was a lot of lean years there, guys, and you're old enough to remember those lean years where we didn't know, whether we were coming or going. A lot of times there was a lot of turnover with ownership and hockey operations and general managers and coaches and that. So to answer your question, being in the community, I'm the longest tenured member of the organization. I've been down here over 30 years, and I've been very fortunate. I'm very grateful to be a part of the organization and see what we've come through the other side. And they built this team, and guys, I got to say it really started when the Viola family bought the team. And they brought in Matt Caldwell as the team president and there was still we went through 2 or 3 lean years, but then with the drafting of the Barkovs and the Ekblads and the Huberdeaus and that was started to build this team. And I think the patience of the organization and treating the fans and giving them value and we all kind of grew together both on and off the ice. That's my biggest pleasure, I think, is to see how far this team has come through hard work, determination, perseverance, reputation, had to build their reputation in the community and that both on and off the ice. And I'm just so happy. Sorry, I got an itchy nose here. That to see the end results of a couple Stanley Cup wins and going to the finals 3 years in a row. That's my biggest satisfaction, is for the fans and the people that have been through the hard times and come out and see and be rewarded with what we're going through now.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask really quick, because it all started with that series against Boston, really. This 3-year one. Is there anything you remember particularly about that series? I was at Game 6. Remember when Zach Dalpe at Toulouse Arena and scored? That's probably still to this day the loudest I've ever heard that building.
Yeah, I mean, you go back that 3 years ago, right, when we went to the finals. Yeah, and going up against the powerhouse Boston Bruins, who had they just broke the record of how many years or whatever with the most points and win the President's Trophy, and we kind of go in there. But you can see, though, looking back, that this team was building. They were building, and they were, as Paul Maurice was talking about, where they were doing the right things. They were able to find their game and play as a team, and you could see that it was coming. Of course, I was with all the experts in that didn't think they had a chance in hell of beating the Boston Bruins because of what they had built or whatever. But even though the Panthers got down in that series, you saw glimpses of the way that they could play that would be successful, and they had a lot of breaks on their side. That's what it takes. And they were able to, and then once that series was over, then you could see that the confidence of the team, the aura of the team, both on and off the ice, it was totally different, and they've held that ever since that series.
Paul Maurice, I think he says that's the type of win that you talk about for years, that you can build on for years, and it certainly has been that.
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of overconfidence from the Boston Bruins. Definitely, they weren't. Now, was it the Panthers or was it the Bruins? But the Boston Bruins weren't able to play the type of game and their style of game that they had success during the regular season, where they would just steamroll teams. Was it the Panthers that prevented that? I think that had a lot to do with it. I think that the Boston Bruins just got away from their game, and the Panthers took advantage of it, and got some great goaltending and special teams, and it kind of all came together in that. And then you saw some of the true heroes, like you mentioned, Zach Dalpe. I mean, Eetu Loisterainen. I mean, these guys weren't household names back then, but boy, Eetu Loisterainen is really a household name now.
All right, that's my guy. Probably my second favorite player on the team. Ekblad's my number one because I played D growing up. But I'm just thinking about that series now. It's just crazy. And my next question for you is, because you've been between the benches and now you're up top with goalie. And just personally, for you calling the game, do you rather be in between the benches or up top? I'm just curious about that.
I really enjoyed those. What was it? 3 years, maybe 4 years that I was between the benches, and when Goldie and Denny were upstairs, and I really enjoyed it. But guys, you've got the best seat in the house, and you hear everything, and you know the conversations between the players, the referee, the coaches, everybody, and how quick and fast the game is, and how physical the game is, and back and forth, and that. I really loved it, and I take every opportunity I can now to go between the benches. Kirby knows in the Saddle Dome in Calgary. Well, I won't go up there. I won't go up there anymore. It's if you've never seen it or watch a video of it or whatever. I mean, you look straight down, and I'm scared of heights and that. So fortunately in Calgary, I'm between the benches, and then usually one other game and that. The seats between the benches where I was at Amerant Bank Arena are sold and that, and I understand that. And that I enjoy being with Goldie up top, because then you get to see how the plays develop, and you have much more mechanisms and assets to break down with. I've got my own screens. I'm in contact with the producer and my video guy that, okay, back that up. Even though the play is going on, Goldie's calling the, okay, back that up. Okay, cut that, show that how, Ekblad had angled that guy off and gave him nothing to center the puck, and that. And so then, as you guys watch, when the whistle blows or whatever, and we're going to do a replay, I can point that out and say, these are the little plays during the game that can become the difference of winning the game. A block centering pass because of the good positioning that the defenseman had, or a good back check or whatever. So I enjoy that. And a lot of times, if you're between the benches, you don't have those type of assets to be able to do that. But I like both, up and down. I love it. It's the, like I say, to people that are just new to the sport, and that it's the fastest team game in the world. And to me, it's the most physical game in the world. And there's no out of bounds. Okay. And these guys play 3 or 4 times a week. And people that are new to the sport, they come to a game, especially live, and if their seats are down fairly close, they can't believe how physical it is, how fast it is, and how intense it is, and especially, obviously, playoff hockey. So it's the best sport in the world, and I'm just privileged to be a part of it.
Randy had a great segue in there mentioning Calgary there. So my next question, Randy, was going to be, you might have answered part of it. Your favorite arena around the league, 1 or 2 of them, and maybe ones you don't care for as much. I don't know if you want to throw them under the bus or not, but yeah, your favorites. Love to hear it.
Guys, and Kirby, I've been asked that so many times, and that it's tough. I because my roots are in Canada. To be able to play or broadcast a hockey night in Canada game, which is huge. It's like Monday Night Football down here. Everybody's watching, and now Sunday Night Football, NFL football, has great numbers. But when you're up in Canada and it's Saturday night, it's January in a snowstorm and that, and you've got hockey in Canada, and you're in Toronto or you're in Montreal, and that, those 2 places are iconic. That's the hotbed of hockey right there. I mean, there's no doubt. But even if you play in Calgary or Edmonton, especially Edmonton now with the building that they have, and Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and that, even Vancouver, Winnipeg, Ottawa, it doesn't really matter. I love because it's the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere that it is hockey night in Canada. All of Canada's watching. They're in bars, they're at home, they're all over the place, and they are watching. And to be a part of that is really special. The other ones that I have a fondness for is obviously Madison Square Garden, because I played for the Rangers. I played there, and it is the most iconic, the most famous arena in the world, bar none. everybody knows that Madison Square Garden, all the concerts, all the shows, everybody who's been anybody has played Madison Square Garden. So that's another favorite one. I really don't have any disfavorites and that. I mean, they're all have their own. It's neat going to Los Angeles and playing at what they call crypto.
It's still Staples to me.
Yeah, Staples, whatever. Because we stay right there. We
Okay.
stay right across the street, and the history that they have of all the great Laker teams that have played there, and Kobe and Shaq and blah blah blah, LeBron and that, and then the Kings have won a couple Stanley Cups, and that's really cool to play there as well. But I enjoy going everywhere. It doesn't matter. I there's plenty of positives in each city, in each arena, and that I enjoy it all. As you can tell by talking to me or whatever, I'm very appreciative. I've done this for a long time, but I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be able to do what I love to do, and to now to really enjoy it because of the team success is something special.
Yeah, and Randy, guys getting to go overseas, Nick.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I've always talked to you guys about this. Our fan base, they get upset about this on social media, but having historic, iconic teams within our division, like 4 original 6, it's pretty crazy, Nick.
I actually wanted to ask a little bit about that. I actually have 2 questions. First one is, the NHL, obviously, since you started broadcasting, has expanded and relocated a bunch. What are your thoughts on seeing the fan bases, particularly over the last 5, 6, 7 years, Vegas and Seattle, visiting those cities? It's got to be a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I just think the popularity of the game, and especially in the States, how it has grown. Vegas was absolutely amazing what they started, and right off the get-go. If you've never been there, the arena is absolutely in the perfect spot. You're 1 block off the strip. I mean, we stay at a hotel that's 2.5 blocks away, so you can walk back and forth, and what they do with the fans. Seattle has done a really nice job as well. I have not been to Utah yet, because last year we didn't broadcast that game, and so we flew home from Denver after that because there was a couple days off, and that, so we just flew the next morning home. So I'm looking forward to seeing Utah, and that'll be a lot of fun too.
And my second question was, I wanted to talk about this. Kirby being Canadian, me and Cody being American, international, when in particular it comes to best on best, there was a long time the NHL went without it. I've always kind of said that kind of screwed over, I don't think just the players, but the fans, because you saw at 4 Nations, the intensity was unreal.
Yeah.
What is it like for you seeing, number one, first time in a while, international play, but also Panthers at the center of it? I mean, like, they got Matthew Tkachuk going on the Tonight Show. You have guys like Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett playing a big role in that championship gold medal game. The Panthers, I think they led the 4 Nations in players participating.
Yeah, and I can loop that in with our couple of trips over the last few years to Finland. Right. And that with all the Finns that we have with Barkov and Oisterainen and Lundell and Niko Mikkola and I'm forgetting other ones, but that's really special. And you mentioned the 4 Nations tournament. When I first heard about it, I was so excited because these players are ultra competitive, and because it's such a international sport now, where if you went back 30 years, 80% of the players in the NHL were from Canada. Well, that has just leveled right out, of course, with the growth of the sport in the United States and all over in the Sun Belt areas, including South Florida and all of Florida, and that. But the European contingent as well, with the players and the superstars that are coming out of like small countries like Finland and that, and we're loaded with them, with the Panthers. I just think that it's unbelievable. It is. I was so excited. I knew that, there was a lot of naysayers. I'm sure you guys heard it as well. These guys are just going to skate around and whatever. Skate around?
Yeah.
How about 3 fights in the first 8 seconds of the
Get some
the
Randy
game,
calls in there
Canada
from the past.
versus
Right?
US.
What
or
movie
whatever.
calls would be in there?
So I knew that the intensity would be there. I think it was phenomenal for the sport. It was great on both sides of the ocean. It was fantastic, and the viewership and everybody talking about it and that. And I think the NHL really it opened up their eyes, as well as saying, we got the Olympics coming up, and I think the Olympics are going to be spectacular as well, because it's best on best. And when you get best on best, it's like, I don't know how big you guys are of golf fans or whatever, but when you watch the Masters and the US Open and the Players Champion, you get best on best, and the best are players usually rise to those occasions. Well, it's in our sport as well, and I'm just so happy that they were able to pull that off, and now they've laid, I think, the groundwork that we're going to see a lot more, with the flip-flopping of the Olympics, and then have a international tournament back and forth. I think it's going to be phenomenal for the game.
I've said that because no other sports league can recreate that, because with how vast, you said, worldwide the sport is, and the amount of talent there is. Not just like, you take a look at Sweden, they finished fourth. They got, as an afterthought, they still have guys like Victor Hedman, Forsling, Erik Karlsson. You could argue the best defense in four nations. So I don't think between the intensity and the talent, there is anything in any of the other sports leagues to replicate it at all.
Yeah. And kudos to the NHL and the Players Association, and the players. They were pushing, and they wanted to do something in this format, and they worked together with the NHL, and kudos to everyone, because they really put on a spectacular event.
Yeah. And then the one thing exciting about the Olympics is, like, Four Nations was an NHL event. So all the players are like from the NHL. The Olympics, you get to see the guys that are probably in the KHL, the Swedish Hockey League, stuff like that. And you're probably going to see, if they have a good turnout, you can probably see some of those guys in the NHL within next year, because the cap going up, stuff like that. It could open up some spots for those guys. And
it's all about exposure. And like you mentioned, maybe a player that's playing in the KHL that's from Sweden or Finland or Latvia or something like that, and then you get an opportunity on that stage to be able to play and against the best in the world or whatever. All it can do is help your career, especially if you play well.
And just last question.
I got one for Randy too. I just want
last question. What was your reaction when Brad Marchand became a Florida Panther? Because that shocked everyone, especially with the rivalry, because you would think, like, why would the Bruins and Panthers trade with each other? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of the inside except what I read, what was going on in Boston and with Brad Marchand and the contract situation and that. I don't know except for what I read, but I'll be honest with you. Like I tell everybody, nothing surprises me in the NHL because Wayne Gretzky got traded.
That's true.
That was the biggest shocker ever. And I still remember it to this day.
Oh, you were in the league during that too.
Yes, I was. And it was just surreal because of what Gretzky meant to Edmonton and Canada and what have you. And that. But I tell you, I was surprised as well. But if you take a step back, what Bill Zito, as the general manager and president of hockey operations, has been able to accomplish since he's been to South Florida with the Panthers, if you look at it, if there's anybody in the league that could pull this off successfully, it would be him. So it was easy to, I guess, after the reality set in, after a couple of days, 3 days, that, hey, Brad Marchand is a member of the Florida Panthers, that you say, you know what? Anything's possible if you're creative enough and you have enough assets and you do enough homework and that. Nobody outworks the Florida Panthers hockey operations. They are loaded with talent. They've got great minds, great hockey people and that, and led by Bill Zito. They've been able to accomplish a lot. Look what happened for early in July, where the Panthers were able to sign the three big unrestricted free agents and that in Marchand and Bennett and Ekblad and that I wasn't surprised at. I was very pleased, but I wasn't really surprised. I knew that they would do anything that they could to make it work, and somehow they were able to make it work. They're a lot smarter than I am to be able to put all that together and manage the salary cap and what have you and that. But I'm very happy. It was a surprise. It was a surprise. It took a little while, guys, until I met Brad Marchand. And we don't need to talk about him on the ice and what he was with the Boston Bruins and number one pest in the NHL and all that. But we always knew that he was a great player. And I used to point that out when we played the Bruins, not to really upset our fans, but how the plays that he would make and would play in his partnership with Patrice Bergeron, that this is a great player. An unbelievable player and that. But it wasn't a couple days, 3-4 days or whatever. Remember when Brad Marchand came down, he was injured. He wasn't playing, but he was with the team. And he came right up to me. Hey, Randy, how you doing? Whatever you need, just let me know or whatever. And then you started hearing things that, wow, this guy is a hell of a teammate. He just wants to come in and fit in. It's kind of goes against some of what his personality is on the ice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The way he plays and that. But I tell you, he's been unbelievable for the Panthers. And once he got going in that injury that he had was pretty significant. And it took him a while to get going, but it was the right timing. And once the playoffs hit, and then, obviously the being paired up with Loistereen and Lundell, wow, they just took off.
Best
like
third
that.
line, I remember Reinhart, Lundell, Loistereen.
Yeah.
That I thought was good. This took it to another level.
It really did, and it really balanced out the lines as well, guys, as you saw with the Barkov line and the Bennett line and that, and just putting everybody when the trade was made. Oh, he's going to play with Bennett. Oh, he's going to play with Barkov. He's going to do this, and I said, whoa, wait a second here.
Randy was with us.
Yeah, wait a second. You've got two very talented Finns that are very responsible defensively that could maybe come out a little bit more with their offense if they had the right player. Well, sure enough, they hit the jackpot with Marchand coming and playing on that line. So it all worked out, guys, and it was fantastic.
That line.
And it just speaks to the – Go ahead, Kirby.
Yeah, I just want to jump in there with the Brad Marchand part 2, Randy, that you were mentioning, being up here in Canada and Sportsnet and all that. I saw what he was doing to take pressure off the other players with media responsibilities. So that's a nice little inside story there. He said, Randy, anything you need, I got it here for you. And I think that alleviates the quiet guys in the room, like the Sam Bennett's, Gustav Forslings, those are quiet guys. And Marchand's just jump on my back. And Sam Bennett even said that, I think, to the Sportsnet cameras when they interviewed him after winning, back-to-back Stanley Cups, how much this guy took pressure off of us and stuff like that as well. So.
Yeah, well, and the experience that he's had, guys, and let's not forget, even though it's not in Canada, Boston is a big market. It's a big sports market. It's a big hockey market as well. And for a lot of years, he was 1, 2, 3 with Chara and Patrice Bergeron and maybe Tuukka Rask. He's got to stand up there every game in front of the reporters and in the off days with reporters and the TV stations and that, and explain when things are going well and not going well. So he's got all kinds of experience. So when he came down and joined this team, I think it was very seamless. And he took it on himself to be one of the leaders and like you mentioned, being one of the spokesmen and be comfortable to face the press on a daily basis.
When you mentioned,
I got one more for Randy.
When you mentioned Tuukka Rask, I got PTSD. That guy used to be an animal against us. I remember. So one of my good buddies growing up was a Boston Bruins fan, and he was also a Patriots fan. So they were just winning all the time, and it was pissing me off so much. So I'm like, I just want to beat the Bruins one damn time. It took about 2.5 years after I met him to finally get it done, but we finally got it done. And you kind of go back to that, it's just kind of crazy to see what we've become because you take a look, like we're in the echelon of what the Bruins were, what the Blackhawks were, what the Kings were. Even go further back, if we're able to hopefully get another one here, then you start reaching into that Islanders, Edmonton territory, a lot of people. And I actually go to college in Tampa. So I got there, actually my first day there was game 6 of the Stanley Cup final against Colorado. And I remember going downtown, and the town and the city was unreal. They lost, thankfully, but it's a couple weeks after we got swept. And I just remember seeing the whole town and the buzz about it. And now kind of seeing the same thing here, directly parallel with Tampa, has been really special.
Yeah, yeah, and it has. And I'd be remiss not to mention too, fellas, that when the Viola family bought this team, and Matt Caldwell was the president of the hockey club, and even when Paul Maurice came in, Bill Zito, and that they really respect, even though it's a very healthy rivalry and sometimes it borders on hatred. But they have a lot of respect for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The way that team was built, and Mr. Vinnick that owns the team there, what he did and built that team, and not only on the ice but off the ice with the community. There's a lot of things that the Panthers learned from Tampa Bay on how to function as a franchise, a sports franchise in a local market, and that. I have a lot of respect for Tampa Bay as well because of what they've done, success both on the ice, but especially off the ice, and building that franchise, and what they've done in the community is something that the Panthers wanted to be, and I think they've achieved that.
Yeah. Great point there, Randy. And this is a tough question for Randy on the way out here. We talk about like grabbing W's in our community here, so kind of put Randy on the spot a little bit here. And you can't use this name, so you cannot use Mackie Samoskevich. Who do you think will be like a training camp standout? And there's not a lot of roster spots in this team, if at all. But give us maybe a name or two looking ahead here, maybe that you're looking forward to here in training camp and can turn some heads here.
Mackie Samoskevich. I'm kind of whatever that you wanted that name out of it, but I'm a big fan of Mackie. I think he's got a lot of talent. He showed that last year. Obviously, it was probably somewhat disappointing because when you're a professional athlete, you want to perform and that, and he had to kind of sit on the sidelines. But I think he learned a lot. I think this is going to be a big coming out party for Mackie. We saw what he can do with the speed, the shot, the intelligence. He can play both sides, and that. I think he's going to be the one that's going to benefit. And from the off season, I'm hearing that he's having a great off season. He's gotten stronger, and that's always a big thing for a young player. You're playing against men that are 30 years old, that are 225 and 6'3" and that. So when you're a type of player that he is, you've got to bring something extra to the table, and we've seen that. And I expect him to really have a breakout year. And that I think the other player that I think is gotten a lot of traction as and opened up a lot of eyes is Niko Mikkola. This is I don't want to compare him to Zdeno Chara, but this is a player that has been given an opportunity, and now the confidence that he has with a winning team and playing a big part, that he can continue to take his game to another level as well. He's got the size. Sorry, there went my camera here. He's got the size. He's got the skating ability. He's got the confidence to carry the puck and that. And but not at the risk of losing the type of player that he is, which is he's a physical, shutdown defenseman that can play against all the top players around the league and that. So he's another player that I'll keep an eye on.
It's actually really impressive what he's done. It's actually perfect for what we're going to talk about later, Kirby. But when he came to Florida, it was kind of an unknown. Played with Dmitry Kulikov because of the Montour and Ekblad injuries. Then played with Brandon Montour. Then there was injuries throughout that year. Then the beginning of this year, Kulikov, and then the Ekblad suspension, and then Seth Jones. and he has just risen to the occasion at every single point. Like Brandon Montour, that was a big loss. Minute muncher coming into the year. I think Niko Mikkola for the first 45, 50 games is arguably our most consistent defenseman with what he was asked to do. I think he really rose to the occasion there.
Yeah, you know what, and the Panthers have built something here. There's so many players, and you've just mentioned even Brandon Montour, given an opportunity to come here and excel. We've seen it time and time again where players have come into this system, the situation, and been able to take their game to a new level. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Panthers have won back-to-back Stanley Cups and gone to the finals three times, because of some of the players that have come in. I mean, you go back, even Ryan Lomberg and Nick Cousins, what they brought. I mean, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I mean, it's just one after another of these players come in and really contribute. Maybe not on a superstar level, but in their own way and in their own role that leads to the overall team success. So I expect that to continue. And we just talked about a couple of players like Mackie and Niko Mikkola and that. You mentioned, somebody mentioned throughout the name Seth Jones. Now Seth is, he came in right at the trade deadline and obviously it was a whirlwind for him, and with the Ekblad suspension and that, he got thrown right in, had to learn the system, and that. I think now at the stage of his career and where he is and what he knows that he can accomplish and that in this system or whatever, I think Seth Jones is going to have just an outstanding year as well.
Especially running that top power play unit. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be good.
We have different ways to run that unit.
Yep.
But once again, Randy, it has been an honor to talk.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, to talk to Panther royalty at this point.
Royalty. I'm just happy, guys. It's been a great, although short off season. I'm excited to get back at it because when you're able to defend something like we did last year, defend the Stanley Cup and that, it's something special when you go to training camp and see how this team is going to gel and get started in the regular season and how they're going to, play during the season. I'm excited about broadcasting the games, excited about being around the team and that. And thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. I enjoy you guys' podcasts and that. I'm glad to be able to finally, hopefully we can do this again sometime during the year.
For sure.
Yeah. We really appreciate it, Randy. Thank you so much.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your summer. We'll see you at the rink.
Yes.
See you at the rink, everybody.
To Alberta.
There we go. Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And before, as we say goodbye to Randy, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Caneswear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at pantherswear.com. Again, that's pantherswear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
And before we continue with our contest, let's hear a word from our other sponsor, Jeremy Beckham. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida need real estate help? Check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy the team put humans over houses, working hard for you, whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BeckSellsFLA.com or call 772-475-5371 now. You'd be glad you did.
And a shout out to Jeremy. He's helping me a little bit behind the scenes with our next ranking show. Our moderator, David T, is going to be in the house, and he's going to rank the arenas around the league. And you guys cannot miss this episode, because if you're looking to travel this year to different arenas, David has been to over 20 arenas in the NHL, maybe even more than that. So he's going to be on for a ranking show, and we're just going to let him run that show because Cody and I are just going to sit back for that one.
Yeah, but I've been to a couple though.
Yeah,
we already got a couple in this. We're going to have a couple of this tier right here.
Yeah, David mentioned that to me.
I already got two.
You already got two, yeah.
And I won't hear any arguments for it. But Nick,
that'll be this week.
Take it away, my friend.
So before we get to the giveaway, just want to remind everybody that the Hobby Card Show at the Broward County Convention Center, courtesy of Andrew Hoffman, who was kind enough to join us on our Sunday live stream. We are very grateful for him for joining us. We gave away free tickets to the show, so thank you very much to Andrew Hoffman. And if you would like to find out more information, just be sure to go to www.thehobbycardshow.com, or you could go over to our live stream and hear what he has to say about it. There are guests from Ryan Lomberg, Brad Marchand, to every other type of sports individual. So thank you there. Also, now we are going to, thanks to our partner Caneswear, we're going to be giving away this Niko Mikkola, JSA certified, of course, signed 8x10 photo. And I want everybody to pay attention here. So here is how you enter the giveaway. On this video on YouTube, you have to be subscribed. You have to like the video and make sure you're a public subscriber. So be a public subscriber, like the video, and comment. And when you comment, give us a Twitter handle, an Instagram handle, and then make sure you add hashtag giveaway at the end, so we know you are entering for the giveaway. And those are the rules for this. And this is also actually eligible for international, our international audience. So if you would like to enter, just follow those rules, and we'll be announcing the winner here in the next little bit here. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Nick. So a lot of our international listeners are over on the Apple and Spotify platforms. So jump on over to our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're eligible here. So, anyone from Finland, Sweden, Canada, you're eligible for this one. Of course, anywhere in the United States, as we always have our contest there. And if someone doesn't win, that's international, we might run it back with another maybe Finnish Florida Panther player or something like that.
We got plenty of them.
Yes, we do.
And more exciting contests ahead as well on top of the Niko Mikkola one. So that's our current one here. Make sure to follow those rules from Nick there. Cody?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really else in the world of the Florida Panthers. Quiet summer. I think they just installed the new scoreboard recently.
Yeah.
And they got to get room for the banners up there.
That's right. A lot of the Panthers right now traveling overseas as the time of this recording. In Finland right now, so Barkov with the cup. Niko Mikkola, he's getting a lot of airtime on this episode here. Episode number 57, I believe. Etu Luosterainen as well over there. Anton Lundell taking that Stanley Cup on some amusement rides there. I'm an amusement ride guy. A lot of stuff Anton Lundell.
It was like on a jet ski, no?
I can side with Anton Lundell on. So,
I mean, look, I'm a fan of these quiet summers. I'm a fan of it. Remember when we used to have these loud summers for the wrong reasons?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm trying to talk up certain prospects there. Randy didn't give me a name on a prospect there, but hey, Niko Mikkola, if he's going to get stronger and better in training camp, I'm all for that too.
I mean, let's be real here. There's no prospect making the scene.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what people ask us, like, right? So it's like it's a hard ask. Like, Benny's going to look good in camp, Devine's going to look good in camp, but even if you have like a 12 out of 10 training camp, you probably still don't crack the roster.
Like, you're not in the top 9.
Like my only answer would have been Justin Sorda, but he's in Washington now.
It's got to be a guy that plays lower down the lineup, right?
What, Sachin maybe?
I don't think he's ready till next.
Davies?
Benning, I would say on the back end because we're a little deeper on forward.
But we're deep on the back end now too.
He's maybe, yeah, because
we're 7 deep now. Luis Meliscus is a bona fide NHL defenseman at this point.
But are they looking for a PTO guy veteran, or are they looking for a last?
I doubt it. They're already up against the cap. Why add to it?
Yeah. I know. When you got guys in camp that you can have long.
Like Minnesota just signed Jack Johnson the other day to a PTO or whatever. So, like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see. Once again, shout out to Randy for joining us. I mean,
yeah,
it's back-to-back pretty good Panthers alumni. So, and
yeah. Trying to plan some more guests ahead here too. I want to give a shout out to our Cats and Rats community. Thank you for 1K subscribers over on the YouTube channel side. I know some of you that follow our live streams already know this, but everyone that hasn't been hearing us on the podcast over the last couple of weeks, thank you.
And once again, shout out to our boy Big C's over there on the Big C channel. He just dropped recently episode with the former Panther Anthony Duclair. So
make sure to follow Big C's there if you are watching us on YouTube down there at the bottom. C's are inspired. And Big C's on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, go subscribe to him on the Big C show, and please go drop a like and comment over there on the Anthony Duclair interview.
Yep.
Damn good interview. Shout out to our boy Big C's. Just boys, we're about a month away from training camp here.
Mm-hmm. My mind's not quite around it because you guys mentioned football, off the air.
Don't mention football. We're not doing this again.
I just had to say that in there. We will get our fantasy leagues going here, the football leagues. Some people are asking about the hockey. It's not time yet, but we'll be getting those leagues going.
We'll be starting up soon. Apparently,
shout out to CatsNRatsPodcast jumping back in with us with the fantasy football.
We may have to start another hockey league at this point. The amount of people asking us. So
who's going to run that? You guys say that now.
I vote Nick.
Whoa.
Like.
I'm already in like 3 fantasy football leagues. By the way, my keeper league and Kirby's league, the best team in that league, by the way.
There you go.
I'm in the league too.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
you are? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cody's got a good team.
Like I got a good team too, buddy.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Anyway, anything else, gentlemen, before we sign off here?
No, I think that's everything. Everyone, just if you're listening to us on the podcast side, make sure to join us over on the live stream side. We've been going all summer, so ranking shows, catch up on those.
Yeah.
Defense, goalies, GMs. We're going to have a head coach one up ahead. Jerseys, which we did last year with our girl Lex and Cody. So that'll be interesting to do this year. We got a couple analysts for that one.
I just want to say on that, we took a W on the Ducks one. The logo is better, but the jerseys are not.
I know. You guys went with the full kit colors and everything like that. So really,
yeah, they went full traffic cone.
Yeah. We'll make our rules more defined this year. But, yeah, okay.
I think we should probably do road jerseys now. Or are we going to stick with the homes?
Nah, the homes are a little bit more flavor, with all the different colors and the schemes, and then the kits, the logo itself, all that. We'll have to talk about if we do the logo jersey combined together. But
anyway, thank you guys for watching, and as always, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Remember, enter the contest on this video. If you're not heard, go back and re-listen to Nick's instructions. Remember, be a public subscriber. Go to your settings to change that. But for me, Kirby, Nick, as always, let's go Cats.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats.